The year was 1935. America, still reeling from the Great Depression, found solace in its mysteries. And in the heartland, a mystery was brewing, darker than any Depression-era dust storm. It began with a name, or rather, an alias, Roland T. Owen. But behind this fabricated identity lay a man named Artemis Ogletree, a man soon to be lost in a labyrinth of unanswered questions. His story, as twisted and chilling as any film noir plot, unfolded in the unforgiving city of Kansas City, a place where shadows held secrets and truths were buried deep. This wasn't a story of gangsters or mob hits, even though the city had seen its fair share of those. This was a tale of a seemingly ordinary man caught in an extraordinary web of intrigue. Ogletree's journey into the heart of this enigma began with a simple act, checking into a hotel. But as the days unraveled, it became clear that nothing about this man or his fate was destined for simplicity. The hotel president, an imposing structure against the Kansas City skyline, had seen its share of travelers, businessmen, and weary souls seeking refuge. Its grand halls and opulent rooms had witnessed countless stories, each guest adding a chapter to the hotel's rich history. But on January 2nd, 1935, it welcomed a different kind of guest, a man cloaked in an air of secrecy, a man who would forever etch his presence into the hotel's grim history. This guest was unlike any other, his arrival marked by an unsettling aura that seemed to follow him. This was Artemis Ogletree, masquerading under the assumed name of Roland T. Owen. His choice of alias was as enigmatic as the man himself, raising questions that would linger long after his departure. He arrived with little more than the clothes on his back and a small bag containing toiletries. No one could have guessed the dark secrets that small bag might conceal, or the mysteries that would soon unfold. It was an odd detail, this lack of luggage, as if he were a man untethered from the usual trappings of life. His minimal belongings hinted at a transient existence, a life lived on the edge of society. He requested a room on an interior corridor, a room devoid of windows, as if seeking sanctuary from the prying eyes of the world. This unusual request only added to the air of mystery surrounding him. Room 1046, with its muted walls and heavy drapes, would become his temporary haven, a place where shadows danced and whispered secrets yet to be revealed. The room seemed to absorb his presence, becoming a silent witness to the unfolding drama. From the outset, Owen's behavior struck the hotel staff as peculiar. His interactions were brief, his demeanor distant, as if he were constantly on guard. He kept to himself, rarely venturing out, his presence in the hotel as elusive as smoke. The staff's curiosity grew with each passing day, but Owen remained an enigma. The maids reported a strange darkness clinging to the room, the drapes always drawn, as if shielding a world unseen from curious gazes. The room seemed to hold its breath, waiting for something to happen. There was a palpable tension surrounding the man, an aura of unease that settled like a shroud. His every move seemed calculated, his every glance filled with apprehension. Little did they know, these were but the first unsettling notes in a symphony of terror about to reach its crescendo. The events that would follow would leave an indelible mark on the hotel president, forever intertwining its fate with that of its most mysterious guest. The silence of room 1046 was deceptive. It wasn't the peaceful quiet of slumber or solitude. It was the strained silence of secrets kept under lock and key, of conversations held in hushed tones, barely audible but heavy with meaning. The maids, accustomed to the mundane rhythms of hotel life, couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Their instincts, honed by years of observing human nature within the hotel walls, screamed that room 1046 held more than met the eye. One evening, a maid passing by the room swore she heard muffled voices, a man and a woman engaged in a heated argument. The woman's voice, laced with fear and urgency, sent chills down her spine. It was a sound that lingered, echoing in the quiet hallways long after the argument had ceased. Later, another maid would report a similar experience. Her knock met with a man's gruff voice, "We don't need any towels." But when she returned later, the room was empty, the air thick with an unsettling stillness. The bed, unmade, and the room, eerily quiet, seemed to hold its breath. A note, discovered crumpled on the floor, added another layer to the enigma. "Dawn," it read, the handwriting hurried and frantic. "I will be back in 15 minutes. Wait." The urgency in the note was palpable, hinting at a rendezvous that never happened. Who was Don, and what was the nature of his relationship with the mysterious Mr. Owen? The questions multiplied, each more perplexing than the last. These questions, whispered in the dimly lit corridors of the hotel president, remained unanswered, swirling like dust devils in the growing storm of uncertainty. The mystery of room 1046 deepened with each passing day, leaving a trail of whispers and shadows in its wake. The morning of January 4th, 1935, dawned like any other in Kansas City. The city was slowly waking up, with the first light of dawn casting a golden hue over the buildings and streets. People were beginning their daily routines, unaware of the dark events that were about to unfold. But within the walls of the hotel president, a scene of unimaginable horror was about to unfold, forever shattering the illusion of normalcy. The hotel, usually a place of comfort and respite, was about to become the epicenter of a chilling mystery. A maid, her heart pounding with a sense of foreboding, approached room 1046. She had a feeling that something was terribly wrong, a sense that was only heightened by the eerie silence that seemed to envelop the hallway. The door, usually firmly shut, stood slightly ajar, as if beckoning her into the darkness within. She hesitated for a moment, her hand trembling as she reached out to push the door open, the creak of the hinges echoing ominously. What she found sent shockwaves through the hotel, a scene ripped from a nightmare. The room was in disarray, and the air was thick with the metallic scent of blood. It was a sight that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Lying on the bed, his body contorted in a grotesque parody of rest, was Roland T. Owen. His face was twisted in pain, and his eyes, though closed, seemed to hold a silent scream. But this wasn't sleep. It was the aftermath of a brutality that defied comprehension. The room bore the signs of a violent struggle, with overturned furniture and blood spattered on the walls. His hands and feet were bound tightly with cords, his body bearing the marks of unspeakable violence. The cords cut into his flesh, leaving deep, angry welts. Bruises marred his flesh, and blood stained the sheets, a testament to the savagery inflicted upon him. Panicked calls were made, the urgency in the voices a stark contrast to the stillness of the room. The police arrived, their faces grim as they surveyed the gruesome tableau. They moved with a practiced efficiency, but the horror of the scene was evident in their eyes. Owen, barely clinging to life, was rushed to the hospital, his moans a chilling counterpoint to the frantic whispers that filled the air. The paramedics worked quickly, their faces set in grim determination. Who could have done this? And why? These questions weighed heavily on the minds of everyone present, the mystery deepening with every passing moment. These questions echoed through the halls of the hotel president, a chilling prelude to a mystery that was about to unravel. The whispers of the unknown filled the air, as the hotel became a place of fear and speculation. In the heart of the investigation, there was one man who stood out, not for what he said, but for what he didn't say. He was a figure shrouded in silence, his lips sealed tight, as if guarding a secret too dangerous to reveal. Despite countless questions, he remained an enigma, his silence speaking volumes. The investigators were baffled, left to wonder, what could be so powerful, so terrifying that it rendered him speechless? As the days turned into weeks, his silence became a haunting presence, a constant reminder of the mysteries yet to be uncovered. As the days turned into weeks, the community began to rally around the grieving family. Strangers from near and far offered their support, bringing meals, flowers, and words of comfort. It was a small town, after all, where everyone knew everyone, or so it seemed. Yet, amidst the familiar faces, there was one stranger who stood out, a kind soul whose generosity and empathy provided a glimmer of hope in the darkest of times. Then, out of nowhere, the family started receiving letters. These weren't just any letters. They were written in a familiar hand, one they thought they'd never see again. Each letter was filled with love, memories, and a sense of presence that was both comforting and unsettling. Who could have sent these letters? And how could they know such intimate details? The mystery deepened, leaving the family both haunted and hopeful. With each passing day, the unanswered questions grew heavier. Doubts began to creep into the minds of everyone involved. Could they trust the kindness of strangers? Were the letters a cruel prank or a genuine message from beyond? As the shadows of doubt lengthened, the line between reality and the supernatural became increasingly blurred. The family found themselves questioning everything they once believed. Despite the many twists and turns, the mystery remained unsolved. The letters continued to arrive, and the stranger's kindness never wavered. The community remained in a state of perpetual wonder, caught between skepticism and belief. In the end, the case became an enduring enigma, a story passed down through generations, reminding everyone that some mysteries are never meant to be solved.